Hello, everybody. How are you guys all doing today? Sorry, a little bit late. Patreon was down today for a little while, but now it's back up and running. So here we are doing a live. It's been 2 weeks. Nice to see you guys all again. Just to let you know, I am answering questions off of the Patreon group. The Patreon group is a group where you can come ask your questions, and we do and I do a YouTube live to answer them once, twice a week. Okay, or no, sorry, every second week, not once or twice a week, every second week. I can talk today. I intend that I'm able to. so yeah, let's get started on the questions that we have that people posted last week here. So let's take a look. We've got to start Anna's question. So Anna's question, I just put the time that I answer the question. That way, when the people on the group go back and watch it, they can just watch where their question is. So 57 seconds. I answered your question. Awesome. Okay, so Anna's question is this one a question? She says, "Hi, Amanda. Thanks for having this option to ask questions here." You're welcome. I'm doing coaching with Carol, and I understand what my blocks are now. That's awesome. I'm keeping on mental diet and tending. Excellent. Yes, Carol's actually very good. She's having a sale all the way to the end of the month as well. She's really amazing. She knows her stuff. So Anna's question, now there's a second part. So her question is, I am intending to live with my boyfriend. It's an ex. And he just emailed me that he's going to live in another state with his kids. He said to pick up my things from his place and leave the key. I want to live with him wherever he goes. Okay, so this is really important. This is an excellent question. Everyone is you pushed out. Okay, so circumstances don't matter. So we can change and alter, what people outside of us do, because they're not really outside of us. They are us. So you are the universe experiencing yourself. Everyone is you pushed out, meaning everybody is actually a projection of your mind. You've actually created them. So you've actually created him somehow or other to pack up and want to move out of state. So what needs to happen is we need to change that story to what you actually want and start focusing on that. Okay. So, I would focus on, whatever the details are, start shifting those details to actually work in your favor. Okay. So that's what I would focus on, is where do you want to live? I don't know the full story here. There's not too much of a question I see here, but basically is you want to start focusing on what you want and make sure that all the doubts or thoughts that ended up creating him want to move or having to move to a different state with his kids, that changes. And things can change like that. I've had, things change overnight, and it's like, what made you change your mind? So maybe whatever it was falls through. Okay. So that's what I would actually shift to change on, is to think about what you actually want to create. Yes, I'm so happy to see you all too. And I'm feeling great, by the way. I feel amazing. It's awesome. I'm intending now. I'm in perfect health. My mental diet's going to be good. It's going to be perfect. And somebody says, yay, I'm early again. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I'm early. I'm here. So 3 minutes and 44 seconds. We have Aaliyah's question. Okay, so Aaliyah's question is, hi, Amanda. I just wanted to thank you and your team for what you do. You're very welcome. Everything you guys put out is so helpful. It's seriously life-changing. I know, we do put it all out. We give it all away. We post it all. We want everybody to have what they want in life. We have what we want in our life. We want you guys to do the same, because it's easy. It can go. Maybe not easy, but it's simple. But sometimes it is work. I recently had a coaching session with Reem. I know, she's amazing. And she was so on point with my blocks. You know what? Coaching sessions with her are just amazing. She'll find your blocks. She'll find them. If you don't know they're there, she'll find them. Also, your response to my last question about me intending to have been with my boyfriend at the end of the year was great. Oh, okay. You said I don't have to push it so far out, and I started intending it happening now, and we start planning for it now. It's crazy, but I love this feeling of creating. He's planning to go with me to look at places this week. Oh my goodness. Right on. You know what? I'm so guilty of that too. Let me just make sure I don't lose the place in your question. I'm so guilty of that too. I'm so guilty of putting things out into the future. Like, oh, I've got to do this before I can have that. I've got to do this before I can have that. But this doesn't have to be that way. You can have it right now. You can say, well, look at, what, oh, that's it. I've got to lose like, 50 pounds before I go do seminars and go on stage. Right. Or you can just say, look at, no, you know what? I'm going to go on stage right now because I'm good enough and I'm perfect just the way I am right now. It's like, oh, I want to get married, but maybe in a couple years we'll be ready. No, I'm ready now. And so is he. We're getting married right now. Yeah. Bring it to right now. Don't put it out in the future and dependent on other things because you don't need to qualify, your, how would I say it? I qualify your manifestations. It's like, well, I would do this if I was rich. No, just start saying you can do it now and start saying it's because you're rich. You know what I mean? So start calling things into your reality now, right? So if you're good enough to have it later on, you're good enough to have it now, right? So we're still working on manifesting a baby in marriage, and that's going to happen now. And Reen's tips about increasing communication are working. I know, amazing, right? No, she nails your block. She nails it. She nails it. When we were together last week, he said he wants to marry me, but he's scared. Ooh, I intend that he's over it and he's ready. I'm even better. I intend he feels comfortable with marriage. Yeah. I don't totally believe in verbal reassurance anymore. How can I intend that he's not scared to go the next level in our relationship? I just said that. I intend that he's comfortable with getting married. Or even find out what scares him about it and then intend that that's resolved, right? Is it similar to what you said about intending Andrew to be over his baggage? Exactly the same. And, oh, you've got my name down. Okay, good. I was worried about it. Yeah, you know what? It's the same thing, right? And we're going to talk about taking action a little bit later in this video because there is a question about taking action, which I really, really love. And I want to answer. But, really what it comes down to is, showing up and saying, hey, you know what? I want to be in a relationship with you and hearing what the person has to say. And whatever they say back to you, those are your blocks that you've projected onto the person, right? So, the other person can tell you what your blocks are just by you say, hey, well, I want to marry you. Oh, I'm scared. Okay, well, why are you scared? And then you find out why they're scared. And then you intend that they're over that in whatever way that you possibly can, right? So that's really what it comes down to. Like I used to have the sales job and I used to sell like cell phones or cell phones. Anyway, so I'd phone up and I'd be like, hey, do you want to get this new cell phone? And they'd be like, no, I can't. It's too expensive. Okay, so right there I knew that in the back of my mind, I was thinking the cell phone was too expensive. And so the people were reflecting that back to me when I asked them if they wanted to buy the cell phone. So I turned around and I was like, okay, well, no, I intend for everyone to say it's a great deal. And then all of a sudden I phone up, I'm like, hey, do you want to buy the cell phone? They were like, oh, yeah, I want to buy it. It's a great deal, but I don't want the contract. And then, of course, in the back of my mind, I was worried about the contract. So then, and then I kind of, reasoned with, okay, well, contracts are okay because, they're going to keep on the same phone and the same carrier. And that's great because they get a deal and, they don't want to switch all the time, and back then when I was doing this, you couldn't like port your number. There wasn't wireless porting. You couldn't port your phone number. So if you did switch carriers, you had to switch your phone number. That's how old I am. Like anybody with 35 and older will understand what I'm talking about. So anyways, so then I said to myself, I was like, well, you know what? I'm like, they can't switch their phone number. So of course they're happy with the contract because that guarantees they can keep their phone number for the next 2 or 3 years. And then as soon as I kind of, came to that story and benefit in my mind, I said, hey, do you want to buy the cell phone? Absolutely. Oh, and I love that it's got a contract because I get to keep my number. They would just say it for me. Okay. So it's really about going out and taking action, finding out what post-it notes you stuck to people out there, what's reflecting back to you. Okay. Because you're going to find 2 ways to find your block. You're going to tell a coach your story or somebody else your story, and they're going to be like, oh, you know what? If you want that, you can't say that about that person. You can't have that feeling, that thought, that belief, right? Someone else will be able to point out just by listening to your talking if they're trained. And then the other way you can find your blocks is show up in life and say, hey, Gerry, you want to go out Friday night? No, I don't, because I'm not sure I want to be in a relationship with you. Boom, block, right? So those are the 2 ways that you're going to find your blocks, right? And so anyways, yeah, that's how you would just intend that he's over his baggage. Now, just to tie into taking action, and that's why I'm big on taking action, because when I take action, just like I said with that cell phone story, I force myself into a breakthrough, because when I get feedback that the cell phone was too expensive, I immediately take that complaint and change it into a positive intention and start forcing that everyone thinks it's a good deal. Everyone thinks that the cell phone's cheap. And that automatically will force a breakthrough, and that'll automatically create what I want sooner. See, we can sit back, okay, and never ask anybody to buy the cell phone and just intend that they come to us and buy it. But if we don't actually deal with the two blocks, which were, the contract and the price of the phone, then you know what, we'll intend all day, but they'll never come until we actually deal with those two stories, because thoughts are things. And when we create a thought, a belief, it stays out there. Okay, so you have to keep searching, keep dumping. Of course, somewhere along the line, you created those. But you know what? Even if you've created the cell phone was too expensive, totally forgot about it, it'll still be out there. It'll still be stuck to the person, right? So yes, you can create things without taking action, but if you want to find out what your blocks are, you want to get past them a lot quicker, you want to start forcing breakthroughs, you want to start making what you want to happen now, then I suggest taking action, right? But you don't have to. I mean, as long as you can sit back and you can intend it comes to you, but you do have to break down all of those stories that could be possibly blocking you from it. And you'll have to stay in your own mind to figure them out. So Wayne Gretzky says it best: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Okay, so it's like this, you're standing at a goal and you take a shot, and then all of a sudden the shot actually goes into the goal. Okay, next time you take a shot, it doesn't go in the goal, it goes just left of the goal. You realize you have to change the way you're standing to hit it to get back in the goal. You make that adjustment. So you don't get that option to make those adjustments if you're not actually taking shots at the goal. Okay, so that's the same thing with law of attraction and taking action. If you're not taking action, then you're not actually seeing what you need to adjust and what you don't need to adjust. You're just sitting back reading a book about how to take shots at the goal and how to, play hockey. Okay, so there's one thing about learning the game and learning the rules of the game, but there's another thing of getting on the court, going out and playing that game. Okay, and once, you're willing to do something for yourself and you're no longer scared of rejection, that's when you can call it into yourself with zero resistance. So actually, I got to be the top salesperson at that job of selling cell phones. And the funny thing is people would, not be there. I'd leave a message for them and they'd actually call back and ask for me and want the set and tell me that they want the phone. And all I would do is leave a message, a little description. They would actually come back to me and call me back and say, I want that phone. And they were like, I don't know how you do it. Because I was intending that they would come to me, and I knew if I called them and got them on the phone, they would have bought it. So I left them a message, and then they called back and they bought it anyway, and it was the easiest sale. So that's the same thing when I first started my YouTube channel, is I was scared to share it. So of course nobody was sharing it, nobody was watching it, nobody was subscribing it, because I was scared of rejection. As soon as I got out there and I started sharing my channel and I started putting up with what came back to me, and I started changing it and getting over my insecurities and dropping that fear of rejection and realizing everyone's me pushed out. I just need to change my story, and changing my story little bit by little bit. And every time someone brought something to me that, made me feel rejected, I changed it and then I got over it. And I thanked every single one of them, because now I get lots of shares, and I don't actually have to do it, because I would do it because I'm okay with it. I'm proud of my channel. I'm proud of what I teach. I'm not scared of being rejected. But now, because of that, it comes to me. Okay, does that make sense? So just give me a sec. I'm going to just note the this one here. I just want to note the one that was taking action. Oh, maybe it's not here. Anyway, we talked about taking action. No, I know it's here. I've seen it. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I'll find it in here hopefully at some point. Okay, so we'll go next to Patricia's question. Okay, let's take a look here. Yeah, so let's take another look here. All right, so let's take a look. So 14 minutes and 35 seconds for Patricia's question. 14:35. Okay. So I hope you're doing well. I am. I have a two-part question. I hope you don't mind. No, I don't mind. The other day, I had a negative thought, and when I went to change it, I made a mistake and said the opposite of what I wanted. Okay. Immediately, I changed that thought too, but then I got upset I made the mistake. So please don't get upset that you made the mistake. Again, you're just focusing on what you don't want. Okay. So the first part of my question is how many times we need to repeat a positive thought to fix a negative one? Okay, so both in general and the case of a mistake. Okay, we're way too much overthinking this here. I'm going to be honest, way too much overthinking. Just focus on what you want. If you make a mistake and you have a negative thought, don't worry about it. Just focus on what you want. How long do you need to focus on your positive thoughts? As long as you want to have it. So let's put it this way. I've been saying that Andrew wants to be in a relationship with me from the day I met him until now. And it's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Now, the reason why I can't stop is because if I start saying he doesn't want to be with me, then guess what? He's leaving. Okay. So we have to focus on what we want for as long as we want it. Now, do I need to say that Andrew wants to be with me every minute of the day or frequently? No, it's a lot less than it used to be. Okay. So you'll feel, and when you start to see evidence, that's when you can start lightening up on your intentions because you make it a belief. You start to believe it as true. So when you start to believe it as true, and in your mind, you're like, if you were to say to me, "Oh, Andrew doesn't want to be with you," I'd laugh at you. I feel like that's so funny. That guy would like never leave me because that's a belief now. But if you would have said that to me 3 years ago, I would have been like, "Really? Where'd you hear that? Did he tell you?" Okay, so do you see what I mean? So yeah, so you want to keep focus on what you want. You make a mistake, don't worry, just guide yourself back over to it. Me myself, I don't know. You know what I do? I personally, if I have a negative thought, I try to put three on there, three like positive, So, like for instance, Andrew doesn't want to be with me. I'm like, no, of course he wants to be with me. He'll never leave me. He has a great time with me. So I'll put like those three on there. Do you get what I'm saying as an example? Second part of my question is, was me being upset at my mistake, me coming from the end of not getting what I want? Yep. It was also coming from the end of not being confident in yourself and the law of attraction. Definitely coming from doubt, definitely coming from lack. Should I just stay positive and believe that I fixed it and no harm was done? Yep, definitely 100%. See, that's the biggest problem. Maybe not the biggest. I'm not going to create that. But I mean, just, focusing on you doing stuff wrong. You can't screw anything up. You're perfect. I mean, you are the creator. You've got one option: focus on what you want or focus on what you don't want. Okay. And, if you say one thing that you don't want, just, it's no big deal. Just move on to what you want, right? You just move on. We're putting too much emphasis and attention on what we're doing and questioning whether or not we're doing this right or not, then we're doing it wrong. Okay. Because we want a certain amount of trust and belief in ourselves. Right. So just focus on what you want. Right. And you know what? It's a big joke if you mess up and you say something negative, just say, look, no, only my positive thoughts create. Right. You can say that. I mean, does that really fully help? I mean, is that necessarily true? Not necessarily true. Your thoughts create, and there's no such thing as positive or negative. But it's a statement for you to say in the moment, for you to let go of your mistake and not beat yourself up. If you get what I'm saying, okay. So yeah, again, I can never do any of this wrong. My positive thoughts always great. I always get what I want. This always works out for me. I feel like I'm doing this right? Okay, so let's go down those roads. Let's stop overthinking it and stop beating yourself up, okay? And start rejoicing in the fact that you can have whatever you want because you're a powerful creator, okay? Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. So 18 minutes and 33 seconds. So we've got Tad J's question at 18 minutes and 33 seconds. I'm answering your question. Okay, so Amanda, I hope you're doing well and having a good day. I'm having a great day. I'm trying to manifest a relationship with my specific person, but we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. And yesterday he was texting me telling me that he couldn't see our relationship going anywhere and was seeing another girl. Ew. I know that I created that, and I've learned not to react when this happens in my 3D world. And I know I'm the only one that can change this. So I was wondering, how would you go by when it comes to removing a third party and wanting him to commit? Thank you for all your help and videos. Well, you're welcome. Sorry, you got some Diet Pop. I love Diet Coke, guys. So hold on there. Okay. So when it comes to removing a third party, I mean, I usually want to know how it was created. So is it because you think you're not good enough? Is it because, you think that he doesn't want a relationship? I mean, what's the reason why you think he's not with you? I mean, but really, when it comes to removing a third party, I mean, it should just be enough to say, you know what, I'm good enough to be with him. He wants to be with me and only me. And the third party, they find somebody else and move on. So I guess I'm really curious as to what blocks created or what insecurities or what thoughts created the third party. So what I would suggest, the best way to get rid of the third party is write down all of the reasons why, you think the third party is there. Like, why, how did you create them? And then once you do that, change those into intentions and then add those intentions to your mental diet. And really, how you want to live from the end of getting rid of a third party is, say, in 6 months from now, you guys are together, which you will be. And you're looking back and you're saying, and you're telling somebody the story. So, your story would be like, yeah, you know what? He was with this other girl, but you know what? She found someone different and he realized I was the love of his life. And now we're together and we're going to get married. Okay. Like, so basically, those would be your intentions, that he found out that he's in love with you. And you know what? She moved on and she went and found someone better. And now you guys are together. We actually, Friday, is Friday? Friday? Yeah, Friday. We're actually doing a video. Me and Travis are um, posting a video for how to, getting rid of a third party, and that's going to come out on this Friday, so in 2 days from now. So definitely take a look at that video. We talk about other different ways. Oh, there's a success story as well that the client shares about how she got rid of the third party. So that video may be of interest to you. But basically, focus on what you want and pay special attention to the thoughts that created the third party. Take those thoughts, change them into a positive intention. Okay. And the big thing here is basically taking him off of a pedestal and thinking that she's better than you off of a pedestal and putting yourself up there that you're good enough. Okay. Because a lot of times third parties do come from insecurities. Okay. Or they can just come straight from he's a player. So, that's, I guess, the huge question, right? So let's take a look here. We've got the next question. We've got CC. Just give me one sec, guys. Still have to run things. Okay, we got CC's question at 22 minutes and 25 seconds. So, CC's question. So, hey, Amanda, I've heard people say not to take breadcrumbs from your specific person. What does this mean? Okay, well, I'm not sure what they mean by it because I don't know who said it. But if you were to say don't take breadcrumbs, I guess that would mean like don't take don't settle for anything that isn't what you want. Okay. So like for instance, right? I remember, I wanted to be living with somebody. Okay. And they told me that they didn't want to be living with anybody ever. Okay. And with that particular person, I accepted that and I tried to be happy with just being in a committed relationship and not living with them. But meanwhile, I was completely miserable. That wasn't what I wanted. And I was only doing that because I figured I had to keep this person. So, what I would say is don't take breadcrumbs is be honest with yourself about what you want and go fully for it. And don't just settle for what you get. Okay. So if you want to be married in a relationship with a baby, then intend that fully 100%. Get clear that that's what you want and intend that you want that. And so does the other person. And don't settle for what, they say they can give you because you're just settling for your limiting beliefs. Do you get what I'm saying? So, if they say, well, you know what? Yeah, well, we can be together, but it's never going to be a commitment. Okay. But you really want a commitment, then I guess that would be settling for breadcrumbs. So you want to, go for what you truly want in your heart. Be real with yourself. Okay. Don't just settle for what someone says they can give you. You're a creator. You're pushed out. You can change that. Okay. People have said no to me on numerous occasions. I'm like, yeah, we'll just see about that. And then they come back later and they're like, oh yeah, no, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, now. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Get what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what? get clear on what you want and start changing the full story, and don't settle for, half of what you want. Go out there and get what you want. Now, the other thing, right, is settling for breadcrumbs. And I saw somebody in the chat actually had this question, is about what is settling, settling and being, and accepting your reality, and what's being a doormat. Okay, so basically, right, you're a doormat if you think you are. Okay, now a big thing is changing the meaning of someone's behavior. Okay, so basically, right, if you create, oh, this person always lets me down, they never keep their word, and then you constantly try to, you rely on them to keep their word, and they constantly let you down. Okay, now that's being a doormat. Okay, so accepting your current reality is accepting that, okay, yeah, so they always let you down, but you've created that. That's the story that you've created. So changing the meaning of it from they always let me down to, okay, they were just busy that one time and they're probably not going to do it again because they are a reliable person. And changing the story so you change the outcome the next time. Okay. So again, the same thing with the breadcrumbs, right? Is accepting your current reality, realizing, okay, that's not fully what I want. This is what I want, creating it to happen between you two. If you can't see the person changing into what you want, then maybe, that's a big part of it. You have to see that they're capable of changing. So create intentions like, of course they can change. Everybody changes, right? They don't want to be like that. But a big part of it is changing your opinion of somebody. If somebody's late once, instead of creating the story that they're always late and they're disrespecting you, start changing the story that it was a one-time thing and they're usually always on time and it's never going to happen again. Do you get what I'm saying? So a lot of it's changing the meaning of what you're making the person's behavior mean. Next question. I intend that helps. Lulu's question. Hey, Amanda, I love your channel so much. I love you and your channel so much. I love you guys too. That's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. You're welcome. I'm currently trying to improve my relationship as me and my specific person are on a break. I know he loves me and I feel like I know we're going to be together again, but sometimes I get impatient during the wait process and I get a little sad because I miss him. I usually cave and I will reach out and he usually doesn't answer. I think to myself, he's busy and he'll get back to me, but I still have a mix of emotions and I'm intending this breakup makes us stronger and better than we have been, but I'm ready for my manifestation to show up now. My question is, what should we do in the moments when we genuinely miss our SP? Well, be happy with life, be thankful and grateful, for things that you already have in your reality. But what should you do when you miss your SP? Okay, so I'm going to put it this way. Okay, so this is coming from the end of being in a relationship. So I live with Andrew. We're in a relationship, and he used to go on business trips, and I didn't always go with him. Sometimes I would stay home. Okay, so I'd stay home here, the house we live in together, and he would go on the business trip. And yeah, you know what? Some nights I would actually miss him. And guess what I would do? I would phone him. Okay, that's living from the end of being in a relationship. So what I'm saying is I'm wondering why you guys are even on a break to begin with. Like, what happened? Why are we broken up? Why are we waiting for something? You're the creator of your reality. You create the timing. It goes back to the first, one of the first questions I answered. She said that she was waiting for him to move in with her by the end of the year. I said, why are you waiting? Just intend it happens now. So when you miss him, you should be reaffirming what you want to happen right now. So get clear. I would be like, I intend we're get back together. It sounds like you need to change the story about him because you're creating that he's rejecting you because he doesn't answer the phone when you call. So I would fix the problem. Whenever you're missing him, I would go back to fixing the original problem of, being together and, and making up. And, every time you miss him and Ted, we're back together. We're over this, So generally speaking, as I would do when you miss them, is I would go with happy and grateful and, and remind yourself that you're a powerful creator, and that sort of thing. But I would also create intentions of what your focus is right now. So, I mean, what we do is we'll create, we'll help you create goals, and your focus would be, for instance, getting back together with him, just getting back into communication, getting back together, working on the relationship, back to a committed relationship. So, when you're missing him, you need to be on top of your mental diet. You need to be doing your intentions of whatever your goal is right now. Okay. So, one thing here, Lulu, is you're not even clear on on what you're looking to create, right? So, like right now, what's your mental diet mostly focused on? Is it focused on getting back into communication of him forgiving you or for him getting over it? Like, what's going on? So, let's start when we're missing him, focusing on what we want. Okay. I hope and I intend that that actually helps and makes sense. Okay. So, 29 minutes and 50 seconds. So, 29 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay. SK. Hi, Amanda. I hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you. It's always great to see you on camera. Thank you. I always intend that I look good on YouTube. And it's so funny that you say that because I'll do a video like on my phone and I'll look at it on my phone and I'll be like, "Arr." But then I look at it on YouTube and I'm like, wow, I actually look really good. It's so weird how intentions create, right? And she says, and your coaches are great too. I know they're a great bunch. Thanks so much for all that you and your team do. Oh, you're so welcome. And we do appreciate you guys. We really want you guys to be successful. Um, so my question is, what do you do when your SP or anyone disagrees with you? So a couple of examples. I want a larger place to live, and my SP doesn't want to move. I want to visit my parents more often, but my SP complains about spending time with them. I know he's me pushed out, but I don't know how I created these issues. Can you provide advice on the best way to change his mind as quick as possible? Yeah. So, like, I mean, when someone disagrees with you, I just accept it and go, okay. And then I intend what I want. Okay. So, like, for instance, if I wanted to say move to a bigger place, right? Or a certain area, and I ask Andrew and he says no, I'd be like, okay, no, I get it. Is there any reason why? Because, oh, the commute's too far. Okay. So then I would say, well, I intend that he thinks that the commute would be, doable from there, and that he wants to move to that area or that he wants to move to a bigger space. Okay. So find out why they're saying they don't want those things and, and go from there. So intentions are the quickest way to do this. And also, just agreeing with the person, not fighting them verbally on the spot about it, just agreeing and then asking, inquiring, well, why don't you like spending time with my parents? If they feel uncomfortable, say, I intend in your head, I intend that they feel comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So that's the quickest way to do that. Yeah. So guys, excellent questions today. Yeah, really cool. Really love coming on the live and and doing this. So, and guys, if you guys want, you guys can sign up for the Patreon group and ask the questions there, and we'll come answer them on the live. And yeah, we do that every 2 weeks right now, and have a lot of fun doing it. I'll put the link there. And yeah, guys, go out there and create some wonderful things. I thought there was the question about someone asked about taking action, but I don't think it was on this one. I don't know where it went. But if you're part of the Patreon group and you asked about taking action, if you could put it on next week's, then 2 weeks from now, and I'll answer that question because I've seen it, but I don't know where it went. So yeah, I don't know where it went. So because all the questions get posted on that weekly one. So anyways, guys, yeah, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and for being here during the live. You guys are all amazing. Thank you guys too as well for all of the amazing support that you guys have provided over the last 2 weeks during my recovery. I'm feeling great. I am on my mental diet about my health now. That's always, like, I'll be straight up honest. It's always been something that I've been a little bit, it's not that I don't know how to do it. It was a matter of not doing it and being lazy. And I know that. So, now it's a fresh start. So we're going to, go ahead and start intending and working on that area. So, that's always what it is. The one thing actually I wanted to also share with you guys, and I might do a video on this, is, when it comes to creating in your life, there is no good and bad, right and wrong. There is no positive and negative. There is no success and failure. Nothing means anything. Things are only what they are. Okay. Everything in your life is a manifestation of your thoughts, whether you want it or not. So everything is actually a success in your life, whether you want it or not. It's just the sum total of what you focus on. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. So other people give meanings to things. Okay. So some people, okay, they say, well, you know what? If I'm a billionaire, that means I'm successful. Other people will define success as having lots of friends and family and being loved by other people. So the thing is, right, is there's no one thing that says this is what's successful and that's what's not successful. Okay, there isn't. That's made up by us, by your opinion, by your judgments, by your previous history, by your previous experience, and what you deem to be successful and not successful, right? So what you want to do is realize that nobody is successful, nobody's a failure. There's no such thing. It only is your judgment of something and what you make something mean. Okay, so start focusing on what you want and stop judging yourself and others for what they've actually created or they want to create in their life. I mean, I actually had somebody, I remember I used to work at this place, and this one person was always trying to manifest health problems to get time off from work. And if they did, they considered themselves a success. I mean, no judgment. That's their thing. Like, let them do it. Who cares? You know what I mean? That's their life, right? So, it's not, it doesn't come down. And then who am I to say that they're successful or not successful at manifesting? Of course, they're successful. That's what they wanted. That's what they got, right? So, we can't take a look at what we create in our life and deem it as success or failure. And we really shouldn't be doing that to ourselves, because once we realize that, it is just what it is, and we made that choice and we got it, whether we want it or not, it still means we're successful. Guess what? The law's still working, and that's the main thing. And it's about us making a choice to either focus on what we want or what we don't want. And if we end up focusing on what we don't want and get it, it doesn't mean that we're a failure. As long as you know how this law works, you're automatically a success. You're a God. You're perfect. You have no choice. You're automatically successful. You're automatically perfect. And don't let anyone tell you any different. Anyways, guys, that's my video for today. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we will all see you in the next video. Bye-bye.